Namaskar, hello and welcome to this special broadcast on Sansad TV. I am Namrata Singh. Elections are considered festivals in a democracy. India, being the world's largest democracy, heavily depends on its electoral system for better governance. Since its first general elections after independence in 1951-52, the country, its electorate and the technology have undergone significant changes. In India, the electoral process is diverse, spanning Lok Sabha polls, state polls, municipal polls, among others. However, understanding the electoral terminology can sometimes be challenging. In this report, we attempt to provide you a comprehensive glossary of essential Indian elections terminology. Established on January 25, 1950, a day before India became a republic, the Election Commission of India and electoral system have undergone a remarkable transformation over the past 75 years. Since its inception, the ECI has successfully overseen and conducted elections for constitutional offices of the President and Vice President, 17 general elections and numerous assembly polls. Conducting a nationwide election in India is an extraordinary feat, given the country's vast population of 1.4 billion and over 900 million eligible voters. India's electoral system, established during its inaugural general elections in 1952, is the largest democratic endeavor worldwide.
अब तक हम क्या कर चुके हैं? 17 जनरल इलेक्शंस टू द पार्लियामेंट, 400 से ज़्यादा असेंबली इलेक्शंस कर चुके हैं. ये इलेक्शन कमीशन का एक लीगेसी है. 16 प्रेसिडेंशियल इलेक्शंस, 16 वाइस प्रेसिडेंशियल इलेक्शंस, ए ट्रूली गोल्ड स्टैंडर्ड. इट्स ए गोल्ड स्टैंडर्ड in the entire election management.
The nation's profound diversity in culture, language, religion, and ethnicity poses intricate challenges in electoral administration. With over 10 lakh polling stations spread across diverse landscapes, spanning from the snow-capped Himalayan mountains to the deserts of Rajasthan, from remote islands in the Indian Ocean to the forests of the Northeast, meticulous logistical coordination is paramount. The Election Commission considers factors such as weather conditions, the agricultural cycle, exam schedules, religious festivals, and logistical difficulties. Over the years, the ECI has overcome demographic, geographic, and logistical challenges with innovative approaches to ensure the electoral process is accessible and efficient for all voters.
Wherever it takes, they will walk an extra mile so that voters don't have to mile. पहाड़ के बर्फ में भी जाएंगे, जंगल में भी जाएंगे, नदी में भी जाएंगे, घोड़े पर भी जाएंगे, काठ के ब्रिज पर भी जाएंगे, हेलीकॉप्टर से भी जाएंगे, हाथी से भी जाएंगे, बर्फ में भी चलेंगे, म्यूल से भी जाएंगे. सिर्फ हर जगह पहुंचेंगे इसलिए ताकि वोटर अपना वोट दे सकें.
Initially utilizing traditional ballot boxes, the electoral process has since evolved to integrate electronic voting machines, steadfastly upholding democracy as its foundational principle. The architects of the Indian Republic envisioned a representative parliamentary democracy, ensuring equal participation of all adult citizens in the democratic process, irrespective of any distinctions. The universal adult franchise, as enshrined in Article 326 of the Constitution, demonstrates their trust in the wisdom of every citizen, granting all citizens aged 18 and above the power to vote in elections. The Election Commission of India is a permanent and independent body established by the Constitution to oversee free and fair elections throughout the nation. Article 324 confers upon the Election Commission the authority of superintendence, direction and control over elections to Parliament, state legislatures, the President and the Vice President. As an all India body, it operates jointly under the central and state governments, excluding elections to panchayats and municipalities, which fall under the jurisdiction of separate state election commissioners. Initially constituted in 1950 as a single-member body with the Chief Election Commissioner, it transitioned to a multi-member structure on October 16, 1989, when the President appointed 2 additional election commissioners. Since then, the Election Commission has functioned with 3 election commissioners. The President appoints the Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners, determining their conditions of service and tenure of office subject to parliamentary laws. Over the years, the ECI has introduced various initiatives to enhance inclusivity and transparency in the electoral process. These include the symbol system introduced in the 1952 polls, facilities such as ramps and wheelchairs for persons with disabilities, braille voter slips, EVMs with braille signage, and the reintroduction of electoral photo identity cards. Leveraging digital technology, the ECI has developed mobile applications like the C-Vigil to enhance transparency and accountability. The electoral process in India operates in accordance with constitutional provisions and parliamentary laws. Elections to the Lok Sabha and each Vidhan Sabha are conducted on the basis of the first-past-the-post electoral system, where voters cast their ballots for a single candidate per constituency. The candidate securing the highest number of votes is declared the winner. All Indian citizens aged 18 or older possesses the privilege to vote in these elections. Irrespective of caste, color, religion, or birthplace, every adult citizen is afforded the opportunity to participate in government formation through elections. Elections for the Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies are required to occur every 5 years, unless called for earlier. The electoral process begins with the preparation of electoral rolls. This is the list of eligible voters in a constituency compiled and maintained by the Election Commission of India. The responsibility for local body elections falls under the jurisdiction of the state election commissions. Unlike many other modern democracies, where voters must register themselves on electoral rolls, in India, the onus of registering electors rests with the state. The Election Commission appoints enumerators who visit households to gather data about eligible voters. This information is then used to compile electoral rolls for each constituency, organized by polling station. Only individuals whose names appear on the electoral roll are permitted to vote. Electoral rolls are typically updated annually to include individuals who will turn 18 by January 1st of that year.
Electoral roll preparation starts, we make a draft publication. We give 2 copies free of cost to the political parties. उसके बाद जितने फॉर्म 6, फॉर्म 7, फॉर्म 8, नया नाम जुड़ने के, डिलीशन के, मॉडिफिकेशन के, मेरा नाम बदल है, घर बदल गया, वो सब की कॉपी हम शेयर करते हैं, उसके मिनट्स बनाते हैं. Confident that and we are conscious that a very solid electoral roll is the foundation stone on any election.
A government-issued identification card is provided to Indian citizens eligible to vote in elections is the voter ID card. The Election Commission recommends a comprehensive method for preparing electoral rolls directly at the panchayat level constituency of each voter. This process includes the issuance of a government-issued identification card, serving as proof of eligibility to vote in the elections. This voter ID card could potentially serve as a multi-purpose citizenship card for all adults. Before elections, these electoral rolls should be printed and prominently displayed at post offices within each constituency as well as at panchayat offices or relevant constituency headquarters for public scrutiny. Election observers appointed by the ECI monitor the electoral process to ensure compliance with rules. On polling day, they visit one or more polling booths to assess operations firsthand. If any irregularities are detected, observers have the authority to document them and may even halt the counting process if necessary. However, the ultimate decision-making authority rests with the ECI. Additionally, some observers conduct pre-election tours of the constituency to comprehensively evaluate all polling-related activities. The Election Commission establishes the Model Code of Conduct, which outlines guidelines for political parties and candidates during election campaign. Its purpose is to maintain fairness, prevent conflicts, and ensure transparency in the electoral process. This code is applicable to all political parties and candidates and includes provisions aimed at preventing the misuse of power by ruling parties. Overall, the code promotes ethical conduct and upholds democratic principles during elections. The polling process is a key component of elections. The polling process encompasses several key stages. Filing of nominations. Candidates interested in contesting the elections submit their nomination forms within the time frame specified by the ECI. The ECI then scrutinizes these nominations to ensure compliance with legal requirements, such as the eligibility criteria outlined in the Representation of the People Act 1951 and other relevant laws and regulations. Campaigning period. Candidates engage in election campaigning to reach out to voters, present their agendas, and seek their support. However, campaigning must adhere to the guidelines set by the ECI and the Model Code of Conduct. Once elections are over and the results are out, how do you remember what a particular party promised to do? Well, the document that serves as the reference material for these promises is called the Election Manifesto. Election manifestos are documents issued by political parties during election campaigns outlining their proposed policies, programs, and promises if they are elected to office. These manifestos serve as a reference materials for voters to evaluate and hold parties accountable for their pledges after the elections. An election manifesto usually outlines the broad vision of a political party and lists down specific action points. An election symbol is geographical or visual representation assigned to a political party or candidate by the Election Commission of India. Recognized national and state parties get exclusive symbols, while unrecognized registered parties candidates can choose from free, non-exclusive symbols. A polling booth is a designated location where voters can vote in an election. Until the 1990s, Indian elections relied on traditional paper ballots. However, to modernize and streamline the electoral process for greater efficiency, the Election Commission of India introduced electronic voting machines. Let's take a look at the transition from paper ballots to EVMs for the Lok Sabha polls over the years. Prior to the introduction of electronic voting machines, the voting process in India relied on paper ballots. Voters would mark their choices on these ballots, which were then placed into sealed ballot boxes. However, this method was plagued by several challenges. Counting paper ballots was a time-consuming process, often taking days or even weeks to tally votes. Ensuring its accuracy was another concern, as incidents of ballot stuffing, tampering, and errors in counting were prevalent. In response to these challenges, the Election Commission of India introduced EVMs in 1998. The EVMs are electronic devices designed to record votes without the use of paper. It consists of two units, a control unit and a balloting unit, joined by a 5-meter cable. The control unit is placed with the presiding officer or a polling officer, and the balloting unit is placed inside the voting compartment. Instead of issuing a ballot paper, the polling officer in charge of the control unit will release a ballot by pressing the ballot button, on the control unit. This will enable the voter to cast his vote by pressing the blue button on the balloting unit against the candidate and symbol of his choice. The microchip used in EVMs is a one-time programmable masked chip which can neither be read nor overwritten. Hence, the program used in the EVMs cannot be reprogrammed in a particular manner. Furthermore, the EVMs are standalone machines which are not accessible remotely from any network connected with any external devices, and there is no operating system used in these machines. There is therefore absolutely no chance of programming the EVMs in a particular way to select any particular candidate or political party. As soon as the voter presses the blue button against the candidate and symbol of his choice, the lamp against the symbol of that particular candidate glows red and a long beep sound is heard. Thus, there are both audio and visual indications for the voter to be assured that his vote has been recorded correctly. In addition, VVPAT provides an additional visual verification in the form of paper slip to the voter so he can ensure that his vote has been correctly recorded for the candidate of his choice. EVMs completely eliminates the possibility of casting invalid votes, which, during the paper ballot regime, was noticed in the large numbers during each elections. With EVM, the counting process is very quick and the result can be declared within 3 to 5 hours as compared to 30 to 40 hours on an average under the conventional ballot paper system. To enhance transparency and accountability, a new feature called Voter Verifiable Paper Audit Trail was added to EVMs in 2013. The VVPAT is an independent system attached with electronic voting machines that allows the voters to verify that their votes are cast as intended. When a vote is cast, a slip is printed containing the serial number, name, and symbol of the candidate and remains exposed through a transparent window for 7 seconds. Thereafter, this printed slip automatically gets cut and falls in a sealed drop box of the VVPAT. Another significant addition to EVMs is the inclusion of none of the above nota option, mandated by the Supreme Court in 2013. This option allows voters who do not wish to vote for any candidate to express their preferences by pressing the nota button on the balloting unit. On polling day, eligible voters visit their assigned polling stations to cast their votes. Polling stations are strategically set up across the constituency to ensure smooth voting and accessibility for all voters. Vote counting. After the conclusion of the polling, the ECI oversees the process of counting votes. Counting centers are established and representatives from political parties and election observers are present to ensure transparency and accuracy in the counting process. Voter turnout refers to the percentage of voters who participate in an election. It is a key indicator of civic engagement and democratic participation.
Elections belong to you. बहुत मेहनत की है हमने 2 साल में, आगे भी करेंगे, लेकिन दामोदर अब आपके हाथ में है. We are handing over the baton to you. लोगों का पार्टिसिपेशन बढ़े, जो 67% पार्टिसिपेशन था वो बढ़ के अधिक से अधिक पहुंचे.
Since its inception, the Election Commission of India has continually evolved to meet the changing needs of the India's electoral landscape. Through innovative thinking and proactive measures, it has ensured that the electoral process remains fair, transparent, and accessible to all citizens, fulfilling the vision of the framers of the Indian Republic.
Before we conclude, here are some interesting facts about Indian elections.